What if you could have a career where the opportunities are as vast as our nation, where it's not about mission statements, but a shared mission? At U.S. Customs and Border Protection, we go beyond to protect more than borders. From ship to shore, air to ground, cities to local communities, CBP agents and officers are keeping people safe. Join U.S. Customs and Border Protection and go beyond for something far greater than yourself. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers.
The Podcast Playground. Hooray!
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Today we are speaking with a legendary actor from a legendary acting family. So, maybe Emilio Estevez, didn't, grow up in poverty. And, obviously he did not. His father was Martin Sheen, Captain Benjamin Willard, in one of the greatest movies ever made, Apocalypse Now. If you're a fan of war movies, this is the greatest one of all time. And obviously it's a great film for being shot in the 70s. Regardless, yes, Emilio Estevez did not grow up in a bad part of town and probably was not a busboy or a waiter or have some other kind of crappy job. He was probably always in the film business because of his family. Movies like The Outsiders, The Breakfast Club, Mission Impossible, Rated X, Young Guns, The Mighty Ducks. I mean, man, the list goes on. So probably a little bit different of an episode of Celebrity Jobber, but what do you think Emilio would have been if not an actor? He has other interests, and we're about to find out on this episode of Celebrity Jobber with the one and only Emilio Estevez. How's it going, man?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing great. Hey, happy birthday to you.
That's, thank you very much. That will be on Friday.
Yeah, that's when this comes out, on Friday. And my birthday is tomorrow, which will be Saturday. And
oh, my gosh.
And my wife's birthday, Sunday, same as my mother's. So we've got quite a stretch here, man.
And it's Mother's Day.
Emilio, I'm sorry to make this about me here, but just think about for a second what a nightmare this must be. My wife's birthday on Sunday, my mother's birthday also on Sunday. It's also Mother's Day. I'm sure my wife's going to want to do something on her birthday. My mother's going to want us to do something with her on her birthday, also Mother's Day. And then, hey, what about me? It's my birthday the day before. My day gets completely wiped out from all of these other events, like the story of my life.
I think I was actually born on Mother's Day.
I bet you were. So, yeah, you could kind of relate to what I'm going through, Emilio was my little Mother's Day present. Oh, okay, Mom, but what about me?
Yeah.
How's it going? You staying busy?
Oh, yeah. No, we're all fired up about this release, or re-release, I should say. And we're just excited that people are going to be able to see the film again on the big screen and see it in community, and it's just been an amazing experience to be out there on the circuit again, talking about something that I love.
So we are talking about the re-release of the movie The Way, which came out in 2011, and it stars you and your dad, Martin Sheen. And the movie, it's pretty deep. It's about a father. It's about a son. Son dies. I don't want to say too much, but then again, the movie's 12 years old, so not really a spoiler alert here. But tell me a little bit about the re-release of The Way.
That's right. We're out on Tuesday through Fathom Events. And Fathom Events, they do these one night only, 2 nights. And generally it's classics or movies that are having an anniversary, like a 10-year or a 20-year anniversary, or they do Casablanca or It's a Wonderful Life. So they had a slot open on the 16th, and they said, we believe that since the film is no longer available on streaming services and the DVD is so hard to get, how about we put it back in theaters and we allow people to rediscover it on the big screen? And I was just like, oh my gosh, yes.
Did you write this movie?
I did. Wrote and directed it.
How much of that do you do these days?
In terms of
writing and directing films opposed to just starring in them?
Well, I've always been a writer. I've always, even back in the day when I was doing the Outsiders and Repo Man and Breakfast Club, I was off in my trailer generally writing what I believed would be my next film. So even during St. Elmo's Fire, I was writing Men at Work. So I've always been somebody who took a proactive role in shaping my career. I had always wanted to write and direct. I'd always seen and thought of myself as a storyteller, and so for me, it felt like a natural extension of being an actor to be able to write roles for other actors and create stories that would and especially ensemble stories. If you know the types of movies that I've been attracted to writing and directing, whether it's Bobby or The Public or The Way or At Home, it has featured larger casts, and it always is driven by performance and dialogue, and mostly I've leaned into dramas.
Now, Emilio, have you always been, with your dad being such a legend in the industry, have you always been attracted to film? Was there ever a part of you that wanted to move into another direction? Because I do know that you traveled with your old man to the Philippines when he was shooting Apocalypse Now. So, I mean, was that a job for you at the time? But was there ever anything else other than film?
I always thought that if I wasn't an actor, I would potentially be a journalist, but that's just something that I've flirted with. In fact, Sunday's edition of the Washington Post, I got to be a pretend journalist, and I wrote a piece about immersive travel.
Okay,
exactly what you're talking about. So if your listeners are interested in reading about my experiences growing up and traveling with my folks, it's a lovely article that talks about how important immersive travel is, and for us, growing up, especially the kids, we didn't have a choice.
Right.
My dad just said, "I got a job, get in the car. Got a job, get on the train. I got a job, get on the plane." There was never any moment where we could. There was no dissent. There was no pushback. You packed your bag and you left.
Listen, you don't have to tell me. If I ever tried talking back to my dad when he was trying to show us property on a Saturday or a Sunday, I would have got a backhand across the mouth. So I got it. So if you did you go to college, Emilio?
I did not. No, I graduated high school and went right into working in actually on television, and then started. I'd been auditioning in my last year of high school for a lot of. I got my headshot. I'd been out there on auditioning for shows, but it wasn't. I probably went on about 200 auditions before I got my first acting job, and it was like one line in a TV show.
Right.
Wow. But you keep at it, and I think the day that I auditioned for the Breakfast Club, I had also auditioned for a Taco Bell commercial and that TV show Chips with Eric Estrada.
I loved it.
You just you never know. You just never know where if you're going to get a callback, if the casting director either likes or dislikes you, or if the director thinks you're right for something. That you never know.
Let me ask you: did you smoke pot in the movie Breakfast Club? Because my theory is you never smoked pot before, because there's no way there's any type of pot in the world that makes you react like that when you get high.
I know that was a fantastical reaction.
I knew it.
Doesn't exist in real life, and no, there was no smoking. In fact, I've been very anti-smoking my whole life. I've only smoked once and it was to play a chain smoker in a movie called Rated X for Showtime.
Oh, that's a great movie. I remember that movie. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Look, great speaking with you. You know, I was wondering, what Emilio Estevez would have become if not, an actor. You said maybe journalism. You kind of talked about it, thought about it. What would you be interested in writing? Would you like to write about music, or what did you think you were going to write about?
I always envisioned myself as being a war correspondent.
Wow.
Someone in the field and reporting live from conflict zones.
Wow, very cool.
Kind of that's really that's what fascinated me, and I was probably inspired by Michael Hare, who I had known during Apocalypse Now, and just and other wonderful war correspondents that that I had been fans of. Yeah, that's cool. Hey,
I'm a big fan of that show, the Entourage, and I know brother Charlie is filmed a little bit of a reboot called Ramble On. You don't know if that's coming out anytime soon, do you?
I don't know. I don't know what the status is, and on that, and certainly, I hope they find a home for it.
That's such a great show, too, man. Emilio Estevez, The Way, re-released on the big screen through Fathom Events on May 16th. So where do you go, Emilio, to, the Fathom Events website?
That's right. Yeah, the best thing to do is to go to Fathom Events, and you can find out where to get advance tickets. And then after Fathom Events, you can go to our website, thewaythemovie.com, and see and figure out where you can watch the movie in the comfort of your own home.
Excellent, man. Great talking to you. Last time I spoke to you, I was all hopped up on Benadryl, so I feel a lot better today.
Thank you, man.
Have a good day, man. Thank you. Look, this one, a little bit different. You think about the Sheen / Estevez family and Martin Sheen, just a legendary actor. Can you believe Martin Sheen? He's still kicking ass. I mean, how old is Martin Sheen? Looking him up, he was born in 1940, so he's almost 83 years old, doing great. Emilio is, in his 60s, believe it or not. So, I mean, Jesus, pretty impressive genes. You look at Charlie Sheen, he's been through a lot. And he's still kicking. But yeah, I mean, legendary family, right? So if you're in a legendary family like that, I would find it very, very hard to want to forge your own path. You know what I mean? Like Martin Sheen, a huge actor. I mean, I know Charlie looks up to his dad, from being in Apocalypse Now. He thinks that is, and a lot of people think that is the greatest movie ever made. And it's, as far as war movies, I mean, it holds up, man. It is pretty unbelievable. And Captain Benjamin Willard, played by Martin Sheen, just a, legendary guy. So when you're in that kind of family and you grow up in, Hollywood, California, wherever the hell it was that they grew up, and your dad, Martin Sheen, is like, get in the car. I got a job, and we're going here. We're getting a plane. I got a job. We're going here. And he's, doing movies. I'd find it very, very hard to be forging your own path. As a small child, being like, great, my dad's in film, but, I'm going to be a war correspondent. I thought that was extremely interesting that he said that. I mean, you've got to really be a smart kid to have a thought like wanting to be a war correspondent and or a journalist when your father is Martin Sheen. The obvious path you would think to success is in the film business, to follow in your old man's footsteps as he can get you in front of all the right people and you can do all the right things at an early age, which Emilio did. As he talked about, auditioning for The Breakfast Club, he also auditioned for a Taco Bell commercial on the same day. And he was in high school, going to auditions and, trying to become an actor. So, I didn't really ask him what was your big break, because there is, he didn't have a big break. I mean, he was he was Martin Sheen's son. His big break was, I would imagine, The Breakfast Club, and probably put him on the map. And he's done so many other great movies. One of my favorites is with his brother Charlie. It's this movie about two garbage men. Have you ever seen that? I'm sure he doesn't really consider that like, his greatest work. I remember talking to Gwyneth Paltrow one time, and I said to her, and she, thespian, right? She won an Academy Award for, like Shakespeare or whatever she did. I remember telling Gwyneth Paltrow, my favorite thing that you've ever done was the movie Shallow Hal with Jack Black. And she was nice about it. And I was almost wanting to say the same thing to Emilio Estevez. Like, my favorite movie that he was in was, with his brother Charlie, and they were two garbage men. It was called Men at Work. I don't know if you saw it. It was in the very early 90s. Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez. They were garbage men. It was pretty stupid, but yeah, I'm a fan of stupid. Obviously, if you're listening to me right now, you might be a fan of stupid as well. Anyway, great guy, Emilio Estevez. Interesting conversation, and must have been really interesting growing up in that household with your dad being the legendary film actor Martin Sheen. Probably not a whole lot of other directions that Emilio would have went into. So there you have it, another episode of Celebrity Jobber. I thank you for listening, and I would ask you to please leave me a 5-star rating if you like this podcast, and leave a review. We are available to stream on all the platforms like Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you pod. We're everywhere, even YouTube. It's not that exciting on YouTube, but you can listen to us there. Plus, you can check out all the past episodes up on CelebrityJobber.com. So, until next time, this is the Celebrity Jobber Podcast. I'm Jeff Zito, and thanks again for listening.
The Podcast Playground.